Cheers, Rob Temmett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by the Haymaker, David Hay. We're here at the Chisora Price press conference, not the Prograde Taylor press conference. We've just had that. We're about to have this coming up. How are you, David?
I'm really well. I'm excited. You know, that big fight flavours in the air, and there'll be some knockouts on Saturday night. You know, most of the fights you can see someone's getting knocked out in most of the fights, and it's an exciting card, and I'm buzzing.
Very exciting card, but let's start with obviously the fight that you're yourself involved with. Well, not you fighting, of course, not yet anyway. Derek Chisora versus David Price. Derek surprised everybody when he brought somebody to the ring yesterday, and we're not talking about his dog Winston. Steve Broughton is back in the fold, somebody I know that you've worked with in the past. Tell me a little bit about Steve and him coming into camp.
Yeah, Steve has worked with me since my comeback. You know, he was Shane McGuigan's #2 for a while. He also worked very closely with Ismail Salas when he was based in the UK. Lots of experience. He coached amateurs and he's done professionals. He's been in the corner of multiple world title fights, so he knows what he's doing. He's never really had the opportunity to be the lead coach, head coach. So, Derek worked with him for a couple of weeks, then another few more weeks, and it's probably 8 or 9 weeks now that he's worked solidly with Steve, and they've gelled. They've really gelled. What I think Derek didn't want to do is announce, "Oh, I've got a new trainer," and then a couple of weeks down the line, it not work out, get someone else. So he said, "I tell you what, I'll leave it and just focus on the training, and no outside pressure from the media or people's opinions." And it's worked out great. Here we are. All the hard training's been done, and I think you'll be able to see exactly what Steve Broughton brings to the table on Saturday.
Now, Derek is kind of notorious for having to have, most fighters are, but having to have a relationship with his trainers. Obviously, he had the well-publicised relationship with Don Charles. How was it, kind of that initial bedding in process with Steve?
It was fine. Derek's believe it or not a good student. He understands when he asks a lot of questions. If you say to him, "I want you to throw a double jab," he'll go, "Why?" You've got to explain to him why you're doing it. You're not just doing it because that's just what you think to be doing. You need to give him reasons. He needs to understand the process. If you're throwing a double jab and rolling this way, why are you rolling that way? Are you rolling away from the right hand or left hook, or what are you doing? So as long as things are explained to Derek as he's doing it, he has confidence in the process. And when that process is then applied into sparring and things start working in sparring, so the things he didn't used to do that he's now doing on the pad work and on the bags in sparring, he starts to get off in sparring against good level of opposition. It then gives him confidence in the whole process, and I think that it's worked out really well. It's worked out very, very well. He's been based at the Haymaker training camp down in Vauxhall, and Ruben Tabarez is still doing all his strength and conditioning. All of the boys at London Shoot Fighters, he's down there probably 2 or 3 times a week, getting beasted, getting that engine nice and big, because everybody knows if this turns out to be a boxing match, a long-range boxing match, there's only going to be one winner. That's the Olympic bronze medalist. That's the guy who's probably got 6 inches of reach on Derek Chisora. So Derek doesn't want to have a boxing match with David Price. He needs to bring it into a street fight. He needs to get down and dirty from the first round and really make David Price fight in the gutters, and it's not going to be fun, it's not going to be nice for either fighter early doors, but I believe if it becomes one of those rough, tough slugfest, I believe you have to go with my man Derek Chisora.
I spoke to Eddie yesterday, and he said that the winner of this fight could be in line for a world title shot, but it could also see them potentially being as a future opponent for Oleksandr Usyk, who's somebody I know that me and you have spoken about in the past. Is that a fight that would interest you?
Yeah, for sure. Oleksandr Usyk, I think he's mandatory by the WBO. I don't see the winner of Joshua and Ruiz Jr. fighting Usyk. I think they're more likely to relinquish that WBO title, and if that is the case, then Usyk will need someone ranked highly enough to fight for that vacant title, and someone who the governing bodies know is on form, who can draw a crowd and the fans want to see. And I think if Derek Chisora does what I believe he can do against David Price, he'll be one of the front runners for that potential opportunity.
Elsewhere on the card, we've got Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograde, 2 unbeaten world champions clashing for the Ali Trophy and the Ring Magazine title. What do you make of that fight?
I think it's a fantastic fight. I think both fighters arguably can both claim that they're best in the world. They can say, look at their records, look at the victories they've had, the way they've won their fights. They're both the best of the best. And when you get the best of the best fighting each other, us as fans get what we haven't really been getting in many years gone by. But it seems like now people are really interested and really want to prove that they're number one. You know, chucking the Ring Magazine belt in there, I think it's a nice touch. I think that really sort of signifies who the true number one in the division is. You know, the Ali Trophy on top of that. You know, you got the belts, but you know, I think anyone can win a belt, but very few people can genuinely, legitimately claim that they're universally recognised as the number one in the division. This fight against Prograis and Taylor will be that, and it's a fantastic fight for the fans. And Josh Taylor, I've seen up and close. You know, I used to train with him. You know, Shane McGuigan coached me for 3 of my fights, and I've been privileged to be in the gym with him, to see him go for his training, go for his sparring, watch him on the bags, and it's inspirational being around someone like him. He was so young, so hungry, so thirsty for knowledge. He's willing to spar anybody. He's always in shape. I've never seen him out. I've never seen him, in sparring where he can't go any further. I've never seen him quit on a session. He's always there, and I think he's got that winning mentality. I don't really know too much about Prograis. I've seen obviously his fights, but I don't really know him behind the scenes. I don't really know his personality. But I can only go by what I've seen, and I've seen Taylor looking monstrous. I've seen him, I've said in multiple interviews going back from the first time I started working with him that this guy's a future legitimate world champion.
Final one for the card on Saturday night. Somebody I know that you know very well, you just spoke to him off camera, Lawrence Okoli, challenges for the European Cruiserweight title, a title that you held yourself once upon a time.
Defended it 3 times.
You did, you defended it 3 times. You had a whole host of accolades, David, but I'm not going to stroke your ego.
Not about me.
That's not about you. What do you make of Lawrence at Cruiserweight? I mean, it's a good step up for him against somebody who looks game and is going to come to fight.
It's a great step up. It's a fight that I believe he needs. He needs fights that are going to bring the best out in himself. Trying to get him to fight, fight guys who don't really want to be there doesn't show the best in him. He needs to fight someone who's coming to win. He's a big, strong man who could comfortably fight a heavyweight. I don't know how he gets down to 90 kilos at cruiserweight. He's got such a big frame. He's so physically strong, and I think that he's going to breeze through this fight. He's just a level above. I believe he's, the best in the cruiserweight division in the world. I know he hasn't done anything yet to prove that, but I think this is going to be a step in the right direction. What I've seen behind the closed doors in sparring leads me to believe that. I know how good someone like Joe Joyce is, and I've watched them 2 spar together, going at it. And from that, I thought this guy is, it's one thing watching him fight on television for sort of British level fights. But when you're fighting someone a lot bigger and stronger than you, the way he handled it, the shots he was throwing, led me to believe that this young man has all it takes to be the number 1 cruiserweight and move up to the heavyweight division and at least win a version of the heavyweight title. Remember, I've said it from day one. I'm not changing it. Remember, I said that.
Okay. Just lastly, next week I'm going to be in Las Vegas. Was really disappointed to hear that you might not be, but we'll work something out, I'm sure.
I'm working on it. I can come and carry your bags or something. I'll come carry your kit.
Canelo Kovalev, break down that fight for me. I know it's a fight that you'll have a keen eye on.
For me, Canelo Alvarez is, one of my favourite fighters of the modern era. The way he's gone through the weights. The only blip on his career is that fight against Floyd Mayweather in a fight where he lost on points. Got outmaneuvered by a more seasoned, more experienced fighter. I think it was some fantastic matchmaking by Floyd Mayweather. He must have seen something in Canelo and thought, I need to get this kid now. I think he was 21 or 22 when he fought him, and that name on Mayweather's record will go a long way, because I believe Canelo will go down as one of our best middleweights of all time. In 20, 30, 50 years time, we'll look back at the era of Canelo. I think he's that good. The way he's so calm under pressure, and the fact he's jumping 2 weight divisions to fight a big light heavyweight who's well established. We saw against Anthony Yard how good he is. He's got a granite chin, but I think Canelo's seen something in him that he believes he can exploit, whether it's the body shots. Kovalev's been a bit susceptible to body shots in the past. Remember when he fought Andre Ward, he got touched up to the body, and he didn't like it. So maybe Canelo's looking at an all-out assault on Kovalev's body, but he's just so much bigger than Kovalev. So much big. Sorry, Kovalev is so much bigger than Canelo. Just physically, it seems like it's a massive mountain. I've always, as a heavyweight, given away between probably 3 and 7 stone in weight. Up to about 100 pounds at one stage when I challenged for the title. And they say a good man beats a good little man, but an exceptional little man beats a good big man. And I think that's what we may have here. So I'm backing Canelo to, pull off a massive, massive shock victory, going up 2 weight divisions and outmanoeuvring. I see him beating them on points. It may be a close fight. It may even be a little controversial. But I can't bet against Canelo Alvarez. He's just so slick.
Controversial. Canelo in Vegas? No way. David, hey, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Always a pleasure. Hopefully see you next week.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Cheers, mate. Nice one. Thanks, David.